There we go, we're live.
Yay.
Hello, and welcome to Talking Tech Episode 7. This is a pre-Christmas cracker. Joining me today we have, as always, Chris and Mark. Mark is thankfully feeling better this week, and, well, Chris is always here. So, apart from that one week he went off to have dinner.
Yeah, apart from that one. That was a nice dinner, by the way.
Yeah, glad to hear it. So this week we have actually quite a few news topics. It wasn't quite as slow as a topic as last week.
Last
We
year,
have,
Jesus Christ, though.
yeah.
Not been that long.
Google has updated Authenticator. A few weeks ago we spoke about Arkham Knight, like pretty much forever being broken, and we now know what Warner Brothers are doing. Apple has patented a different type of 3D printer. They also released a 6 and 6S case that looks gorgeous. Yeah. Google's making it easier to make games come to Chromecast. The Pebble Classic and the Pebble Steel, of which I own, can now test the Timeline UI, which is what's on the Time and Time Steel. And lastly, Google Play Music family plans are coming in, yet they still haven't gotten rid of the stupid deauthorization limit. So, starting from the beginning, let's have a look at Authenticator. So if you don't know what Authenticator is, it's a two-factor authentication app. Quick side note, if any of the services you are using offer two-factor authentication, turn on two-factor authentication. It's a pain in the ass, but it's just so much
Just
better.
don't change phone. It's all right as long as you don't change phone or reset your phone.
Or have more than one.
Just print
Yes,
the back,
or have
just
more than one phone.
print the backup codes. Just print off the backup codes. So until like a couple of days ago, Authenticator has looked horrible. It's looked like
It's just been a straight black and white text.
it was a hollow app. It looked like it had been designed for ice cream sandwich and then nothing else. So I'm really glad that they've given it a new material design overhaul. I'd show you, but then you'd obviously know my email and the time limited code. The code isn't interesting, but my email is, well, my private email.
I have it set up for all my accounts, so hang on. So I'm just going to cover the code with my thumb.
The code isn't the interesting bit, mate. The bit's your email.
Well, it's the one I'm debuting is my MTT email, so it doesn't really matter. Let's see. So that's the Android Wear Support one.
There you
pretty
go.
simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
So no, it's a very simple thing. It just shows your code, and I think it's for 60 seconds. That
60
code is
seconds,
yeah. Then that code is active. If you've not used it in 60 seconds, it gives you a brand new one. And it now has, as you just saw, an Android Wear counterpart, which is not something that's happened before. Now,
About time is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I was really hoping that we'd see some cool integration, whereas we actually didn't. So if any of you have used Microsoft Authenticator, I don't know if that's actually what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it.
Something like that.
If something requests access to Microsoft, like your Microsoft account, it essentially pings your...
Puts a notification in.
Yeah, it pings the phone and says, do you want to approve it or decline it? And I wish, sorry Chris, I really wish Google had managed to do this with Authenticator. So like it realized that your Google account is asking for a code, it'd ping your watch and it'd give you a code directly on your watch. Yes, you can do that if you have it set up to send you texts, which is actually what I do a lot of the time. But it'd be really useful if it just knew.
So the way the Microsoft one works is you go up to your device that you wish to sign into your Microsoft account with. You do the usual username and password, and it will say blah blah blah. But in short, it says waiting for approval, and then it displays it's like a code. I wouldn't really call it a code, a string of characters, and then the phone you have it set to will go incoming request, and then it will say that string of characters, and you have a simple tick with it says allow and an X that says deny.
Yep. And like I know that's a very proprietary implementation, which is how they're able to do that, and I believe Google is using like the open source. I can't remember what the version is. Is it Fido? I think that's the company that make it.
I think it's FIDO.
Yeah, so they're using the more open source, like lovey-dovey, everyone can contribute to this. If everyone's fucking contributing, please make a kind of like a ping alert, because it's actually really useful. Other than that, it's kind of just like a facelift, and it's a very well needed facelift, because Authenticator was bloody ugly. What do you think about Mark?
To be honest, the only time I've used the Authenticator, which was some time ago, and I went on a little security binge, it was so awful to use. It was so much of a pain. The fact that it won't... Like, I have multiple computers, and it wanted to give out new passwords for each and every device.
Really?
Oh,
I that.
Authenticator's changed. Yeah. It's changed a lot. In the early days, it was a real pain.
That's changed.
It was so much of a pain trying to get everything set up. And that every time you logged in from a different machine, it would moan and it would bitch. And every time you changed your goddamn IP address, it would moan and it would bitch. So I spent about 3-4 days with it and then turned it off because it was so painful. I really just couldn't deal with it. So, is this an improvement? Well, arguably it is. Is it going to make anyone actually use it? No.
They have added some more usability type stuff. So
Generally, where is another good thing.
That is good, but what I was thinking about more of was, in fact, it's NFC security keys. So I believe it's called Ubico, the company, and the device is called the YubiKey, which is a USB thumb drive essentially. With a touch-sensitive surface, and you can set it up as your Google account. Instead of having to type in a code, you plug in this USB key and then it authenticates it for you. They make ones with NFC tags in as well, so if your phone was requesting the two-factor code, you could tap it to the back. And now, again, slightly more, but still setting it up is going to be a major pain in the ass, especially if like us, you have a million devices.
Yeah, this is just still not going to gain traction. I mean, if you worked for the NSA or you worked for Google or for Microsoft and your employer makes you do it, okay, then it will work and then people will do it. However, if you're just wanting random people, just normal average punters, they're not going to do it. It's an absolute pain. These things are not straightforward. You can't just go to any machine and expect it to have, a fingerprint scanner or an NFC reader. So, hence, until these things become ubiquitous, the only thing that is ubiquitous is typing out shit on a keyboard, and that's a pain.
This is actually kind of like making me really interested for USB-C all over again, because USB-C is one size everywhere, from computers to phones. And when it is fully implemented, so I'm still talking at least, 5 years away before it's everywhere. You start having these USB keys again that will fit in your phone as well as in your PC and your laptop and everything like that. Because currently they're all Type A, which is the big one. Which means if your phone doesn't have NFC, you're going to have to carry around a USB on the go cable. No one wants to carry around a USB on the go cable.
It's not that big, to be fair.
I think the
only one in your bag.
What, on the go cables?
OTG cable. Hang on, I can't find my camera.
There's the OTG cable.
Mine's a lot smaller.
But still, it's not ideal if you have one thing that plugs into a phone compared to two things.
No, I think
you have to get a powered one.
It's ever actually going to become completely ubiquitous is if you have the same way GSM came about. You essentially have a government mandating this is part of the standard, everything must include it, or you can't sell it here. And I think until the EU does that, because it's going to be the EU, the Americans want.
They did that with micro USB, didn't they?
No,
which is why Apple is required to sell an adapter, but not one.
No, they said either you come up with a standard, or we will. And all the phone manufacturers said, okay, we'll all use micro USB.
Yeah,
so the EU then did nothing
USB.
about it.
Oh, I really kind of wish they said fuck it, we'll make our own, and it turned out to be great. Speaking of reversible USB type stuff, I'm hoping to get one of the mic flip reversible micro USB cables in. They look fucking amazing. They're like a tenner each for like a 1 meter cable, so they are kind of pricey.
They're expensive.
They
But
are
what
like
you
mega
expect.
pricey. From what I've seen though, the reversible bit is really kind of cool, but they're actually just like really well built cables as well. I've also ordered in a really cheap cable with a reversible micro USB cable, so I'll see what the difference is. It's about half the price.
Doesn't the £10 one actually do reverse micro USB and reverse USB-C?
No, that was a similar effort on a Kickstarter. So
Mike
Flip was Indiegogo, and the Micro Flip was Kickstarter,
Right.
and Micro Flip was reversible micro USB and reversible Type A. Reversible Type A has actually been around for a couple of years now. Instead of having the big block in the middle, it has like a flexible membrane that can just go up or down.
Yeah, we had a teacher that used to pack around a memory stick like that.
But reversible micro USB is actually like a fair bit different, which is actually quite interesting. So if I just get this over, so everyone knows that micro USB looks
like a spazzed out triangle, a squash triangle. If you
there you go. So everyone knows that. I can't remember the name. I'm just gonna say heptagon. Probably gonna be wrong. The whatever shape that is, that's what micro USB looks like.
It's a very rectangle if you look at it, 4 sides.
Fair enough.
Squashed in at an angle with 2 of them.
It's actually 6-sided. I didn't realize that. Anyway, so reversible micro USB actually just lops off the straight corners, so you can just fit it in either way. So which means less effort when you're super drunk trying to plug your phone in. I know that most proper USB cables are actually keyed. So like on the way you're supposed to like plug it in, it's like indented, or like I think the actual spec is just supposed to put the USB logo. Like,
that only works if
they're compliant, which most aren't.
It only works if the phone manufacturer puts the micro USB port in the same way.
The right way, which is small bit on the top.
Take Samsung that do that, and then HTC on both my phones sitting here.
That is the proper way. This is the proper way. The small bit is on the top.
Yep. All my HTCs that I think I've ever owned and currently possess are the other way around.
I don't think I actually have a device on me at the moment that does it the wrong way, but I had one in for a review recently. I think it might have been the Wiley Fox Swift, the first one, had it the wrong way around, and it was really annoying. I mean, that wasn't the only issue I had with micro USB on that phone, but...
Oh, you got bummed with that phone. I swear you got a dodgy... I think you just got a dodgy unit.
Possibly, but I have spoken to other reviewers that had the same one. So I want to move on before we get bogged down again. So, do you remember we spoke a couple of weeks ago about Arkham Knight and how it was just broken? It was...
Well, they were buying the game back from you and the season pass as well, so... Yeah. It really was broken.
It was so broken, it probably was never going to get fixed, and we speculated at what they were going to do next, to kind of, as if like buying the game back wasn't enough. And now we actually know. So Chris, do you want to tell the people what's recently been happening?
Yeah, so this is, I found this article through Techno Buffalo. It's not too hard to explain, it's quite simple. That they are giving Arkham Knight buyers free Arkham Knight games. So the list includes the Game of the Year edition, Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, Batman Arkham Origins, and Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate Deluxe Edition. So they've just started showing up. This was, when was this recorded? December the 3rd. So if you don't see them and you got it before the 17th of November, wait, be patient, and you should see them in your Steam account. They won't. I don't think they're automatically installing. I think
it might be giving like a placeholder image and you click to download.
Yeah, like the same way when you buy a game and uninstall it off an Xbox, it'll be like a ready to install. It's in a ready to install window. It's probably going to be the Steam version of that.
Fair enough. Do either of you game on a computer? I actually don't game. The last game I bought was Mario Kart Wii. So.
Not on a PC.
You're a
I
console
am
gamer.
Xbox One. Although after the next Xbox, I will be going to PC.
Fair enough. And Mark, what about you?
Yeah, I have never actually owned a console, so any game playing is always on a computer. But I'm not a huge gamer. It tends to be kind of strategy things anyway. So Batman, yeah, never played it, no interest in it, so don't really care.
I don't know if I said, but this is in Steam accounts only so
Yes,
far.
yeah, it's Steam. I think they have.
Oh yeah, I think anyone who
There's
games on a
Origin and Uplay, and there's
Yeah, that's
Amazon. Just do it all through Steam, please. They all
Yes.
suck. Steam's like the best of the bunch, but like everything else sucks.
Well, Steam is the only one that's kind of open to everybody. As far as I know, the rest are all
Yeah, they're proprietary.
one studio only.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough, if you need to play Warcraft or you need to play StarCraft, well, it sucks for you because you have to use Battle.net. But yeah, otherwise, just buy everything through Steam. If it's not on Steam, just don't buy it. It's that simple.
Plus, there's the Steam now does refunds as well, which
Yeah.
I can't believe it's
2
taken
hour
so long to do.
returns
But yeah.
policy. If you put more than 2 hours, I think it.
If it's under 2 hours of playtime, you can like send
Yeah,
it back
you can
in
send
for
it.
whatever reason they won't like ask. So
Don't
moving
keep
on.
doing it over and over again with a certain game. They do get suspicious. I've had friends do it. They were doing it for a joke, and they were like, "Yeah." So it turns out after a couple of attempts, they start getting moany, just refuse to refund you.
Fair enough. Moving on, topic-wise, Apple has patented a different type of 3D printer that applies color differently. Mark, do you want to speak about this one, or?
I don't think I have an awful lot to say. It's a patent, so that means it's essentially a theoretical concept. At some point in the future, sometime maybe somebody might do something, perhaps, possibly with it. Yeah. When they get up on the stage and they go one more thing and they whip it out, that's when I might care. A patent, nah. Like, who cares?
Yeah, it's just a pattern.
Yeah, every now and then you say things that like they are what I'm saying in here, and it's just so nice that someone just says it for me, so I don't wear out my voice.
Yeah, so I will point out
carry on,
that
Chris.
this was filed last year, and this was approved Thursday, but this article was written December 3rd, so that would have been last Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, if it was only filed last year, we won't see it for another decade. That's fine.
Yep.
Apple have patents that are. God, I think the earliest patents for the iPhone were like early 2000s, weren't they? Something stupid like that. Like some of the technology from the iPhone was like showing up in patents earlier on. So we've got a while before this is, and plus we've got a while before everyone's going to have a 3D printer anyway. I still don't think everyone's going to have a 3D printer.
No.
It's just not something that's useful for. Like, I still have a actual printer because I still need to print a lot of shit. And whilst it might be cool to print a screw for a desk that I might have lost that one screw for, it's not an everyday use. I have to print shit off every day. It's not
the way 3D printers will work is Amazon will own a few thousand of them. You will go on, you will tell it exactly what you want, they will print it, post it, and you'll get it the next day.
It's the evolution. It's the evolution of Shapeways. That's exactly what Shapeways does. You can like upload a 3D CAD file to, or browse their like online library, and you can say, I want this necklace in this material, and I want it polished in this size, and they'll like do it for you. And it goes from plastics to metals. You can have like special wood filaments. Like you can like it will be like you won't own it. You'll ask someone who does own it to.
Yeah. Amazon is the people who are going to be buying these things, or somebody like them. It's not people. I don't see them. How often do you need to print things out of plastic? I mean, just
okay. I wish I had one as a geek. The geek inside me would be like, I'd want one.
Oh yeah, super cool toy. But yeah, how many people actually have a use for it?
The only use I can come up so far is a. I know that does exist online. Is a
charging cradle for that.
Not a charging cradle. It's with the Smartwatch 3. If you've read Mark's review, you'll know that it just simply pops up the band. And there is a fella on.
Oh, is it like the watch housing, so you can use any watch
Yes,
strap?
you can use the standard.
Yes.
He's got three: a 22, a 24, and I think a 28 mil.
28 mil is massive.
Was it? I'm not sure. It might have been a
This
26.
this is 22 mil. I have.
Yeah, but you're tiny.
True, but I also have watches with a 26 mil strap.
Oh, it might be a 26, a 22,
like,
a 24, and a 26.
It looks like Nili wearing that leather cuff on the Verge. It's fucking massive. On a side note, fire trap watches are bloody lovely. So, moving on quick. Actually, no, was it one bit before? If I'm buying a 3D printer, I'm buying the cool fucking 3D printer. I'm not buying the piece of shit that does a layer at a time, which is kind of annoying. Have either of you seen Terminator 2? I'd be surprised if Mark hasn't.
Terminator 2?
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm not thinking 3D printers?
No, but you know how the T1000 makes itself out of the ooze?
Oh, yes, right, yes.
There is a 3D printer company called Carbon 3D, and they've developed a new system called CLIP, which is Continuous Liquid something production. And it is essentially like a pool of liquid with a laser underneath for curing it, and it just like essentially pulls shit out of the ooze and cures it as it reaches the top layer.
I mean, those have been rapid prototypers. They've been
kind
around
of.
for years.
It's kind of an evolution of stereolithography, but it's quite different in the fact of the curing agent and the wavelength of light and stuff. It's essentially evolved stereolithography, which is like what the production 3D printers use, rather than the you lay it down line by line. But yeah, if I'm buying a 3D printer, I'm buying a fucking like top of the line, like do me some cool shit printer, or one that prints metal, or one that prints metal.
Oh, that'd be cool. I've been interested by the Ultimakers. They've interested me, but would I buy one if I had the bank account for it?
If someone gave me money and said you can only buy this printer or you cannot have the money, I'd buy the printer just because I can, but I probably wouldn't use it. So
I'd use it.
Moving on before we forget, because this one's kind of like quick and actually kind of funny. Apple has released a battery case, a battery case for the iPhone 6 and 6S, but not the pluses.
Because Apple thinks they have a good enough battery as it is.
Yeah, definitely. The funny thing is, it looks as if someone took a silicon case for an iPhone
and shoved the battery in it.
And just like heated up the back with like a blowtorch enough so it deforms.
A heat gun.
Stuck a battery on the inside and then quickly put it on a phone. Because it looks like someone's just shoved something under the... It's really strange, but it's...
It looks like the sort of thing that should cost $3.99 and ship from China.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
And $3.99 from China looks better than that.
And the best thing is...
$100 or something. It's
$100. And the best thing, it doesn't even give the iPhone a full charge.
No.
It's actually... The battery case is lower than the capacity of the phone itself.
It's just... I mean... Like, what was it? We all took the piss out of the Apple Watch charger thing.
Yeah.
But this is just on a new spectacular level. I mean,
there's
if the watch charging pad was, somebody spent 5 minutes drawing on the back of a packet of fags. I mean, they took 30 seconds on a napkin. It's just. I mean, everyone, if they've not seen it, needs to go and Google this thing. It's so unbelievably bad. It's just laughable, and I think anybody who buys one needs to be institutionalized.
It's not even so bad it's offensive. It's just so bad it's funny. And one of the reasons is, apparently anyway, from what I've been doing a quick bit of reading, is they've essentially tried to design around Mophie's patents. Because Mophie is one of the original players in the battery.
Everyone knows Mophie.
And like they have
for the love of God, just
and it's
buy the company.
It's so funny because they're like, well, we can't have like the top coming off in this certain way because Mophie owns that patent, so we made the top bendy, and because the top is bendy, we have to have a certain amount of space on the top that's flexible. But because the top of the iPhone is exactly the same as the bottom, like the bezel on the front is the same size as the bezel on the bottom, we've got to make the bezel on the top. Yeah, you've got to make the bezel on the top the same size as the bezel on the bottom, which means you just got this lump in the middle.
One thing I will say, as much as we're slating it, when you have that thing connected, in the notification toggle, it does say iPhone, and it gives a battery and a percentage, and I think it's case battery and a percentage.
Yeah, it does that with Apple does that with the watch as well. It gives you the battery capacity of like certain devices. So obviously this is MFI certified. If it wasn't, like, if an Apple-made device wasn't MFI certified, I think I might actually piss myself. But so yeah, it's obviously pulling certain information through. But the amount of design, what the fucks, like extend so far. The charging indicator is on the inside of the case, so you can only see it if the phone isn't in the case. There is no power switch, so as soon as your phone is in the case, it's charging. There is no like on and off switch.
Or does it wait for the phone to hit a certain percent?
No, as soon as you plug it in, even if your phone is at 91%, as soon as you click it in that case, it charges right back to 100.
So they're trying to basically go for something even earlier than the current Mophies. That's what I'd imagine the early Mophies to do. But
I think every Mophie ever made just had a power switch.
Yeah, I think even that.
On the plus side, I had to give them props where props due, and blah 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 blah. They have put a speaker channel, so obviously the speaker on the iPhone is at the bottom. The bottom of this case would cover up the speaker, so they've put a speaker channel in so you can still hear things. That's nice of them. And unlike every other case, they've put a lightning pass-through because they make the fucking standard. If they use micro USB, again, I might actually piss myself. So,
How
I should probably breathe.
Can Apple be?
Yeah.
Answer, very.
Mark, you were about to say something.
Oh no, it was just really. I think I kind of feel as though you're searching for things to kind of give it points for doing.
I really am.
And it's just no. Don't stop trying. It's just an absolutely monstrously shit product. That is.
I think the best thing about it is the amount of YouTubers. I think the best thing about it is the amount of YouTubers going after it. And it's like there was Mac Mixing, there's MKBHD, there's TLD, there's like everyone. This is probably one of the worst Apple devices ever. I think it was John from TLD had a picture of the iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil charging. The new Magic Mouse charging from underneath.
Yes, he did.
And something else. And I think like that picture has been picked up everywhere. Like every like news organization saying how weird this design is.
Yeah,
it's like design not been a strong point for Apple this year with accessories.
I don't think it's just this year. If you go back to 2013, I think, with the 5S and 5C, that 5C case with the holes in the back, that was something.
It kind of looked a bit funky.
It was
hideous.
But
the fact it covered up all the like regulatory information and there's like cut off half words and stuff like that, it's like they could have tried. But yeah, I think it was a signal of what was to come, should we say?
Yeah, I mean they had obviously seen the Huddle 1 cases that Tesco made and thought, let's make one of those too. But we can charge 5 times as much. Woo!
I'd sell it all over the world.
Yeah.
Oh.
Honestly, Tesco should have sued them over that. That would have been hilarious.
Tesco should have brought out the next Huddle, but
they should have done a lot of things. I said this was going to be a quick one. I think we all just ended up like ragging on it because it was funny.
Oh, it's just it's so amazingly bad. It's just
funny.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like the number of humans that this must have been okayed by, and it seems at no point has anyone gone, hang on a minute, guys, this is a bit shit.
It's like you see those adverts that somehow pass through the ASA, and it's just like, did you remember when the Kazam, the Tornado 348 came out, and they had that like the advert that was like a really scantily clad, like this woman was in her underwear, and she was like ironing her shirt in her underwear. I was like, oh wait, my phone is in this pocket, and it's just like, and it got banned after like I don't think it actually even made it to the air. Like they showed it online, and then like 2 days later, ASA was like, that's not going on TV, and you can still find it on YouTube in like terrible low quality copy. But it's kind of like that. But there are so many ads I see on TV. I was like, that is so tone deaf. Like I don't know how it happened. And to me, this feels like you said, like a physical approximation of that. It's so many people had to see that and go, no, that's all right. No, we can get away with that. And it's mind-boggling how. So moving on, because if we could probably speak about this for the next hour. So Chromecast is something that's actually really interesting. I've got a couple in the house. I think Chris has got one. I don't know about you, Mark.
I do have one of the original Chromecasts.
I have the original.
Yeah, I think we've all got originals.
I never use it. Now, in fairness, I actually pretty much never turn my TV on. Mm-hmm. It's not connected to an aerial, so it just basically is like Netflix. And if I'm doing that, I tend to use the Western Digital TV that I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chromecast, bringing games to it. I kind of think.
I think the problem with this
Android bloody stick and have done with.
I think the problem with them trying to do games over it is the games they're going to have to do are going to be really simple, because even on the best internet connection, and I mean, you can either speak about the new one with 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi or with the Ethernet adapter. There is a shit ton of latency between your phone and that Chromecast. If you're using that as a controller, it's got to be like a Monopoly type game or a card game. It can't be a first-person shooter.
Extremely simple stuff. And to be honest, I just think that the direction they seem to be wanting to take the Chrome, not just the Chromecast, but the Chrome browser OS, just make it Android already. That's where you're headed. If you want to have a separate, Chromecast as a completely dumb, it just displays whatever your phone's told it to, that's fine. But then you can't start adding in games and whatnot.
That's where the Chrome bit sits in my opinion.
I think it's two separate. Apart from the fact it's got Chrome in the name, Chromecast is actually made by the Android team. My problem with Chromecast, strangely, I can't believe I'm saying this, is its price. Because for a $5 or more, you can get the Fire TV stick, which has a actual remote, an actual user interface,
game
way
controller.
better Wi-Fi. Yeah, exactly. So if Amazon can do that for a $5 or more, Google could have made this an Android TV stick.
I think the difference is with Amazon is I think Amazon are willing to take a financial hit because they want to tie you into Amazon buying things.
Yeah, they want to hit you with Prime.
Fine, even if it costs,
not just Prime, but their video service that they're
which is all ran through. You have to have a Prime
music service. Amazon want to sell you everything. Their tablets and the Fire TVs things, they are simply means to sell you crap. Mm-hmm. They're not products in themselves. They're just there as a means to get you to buy stuff.
Yeah, and
think of it as it's the electronic Argos catalog.
Yeah, and there is nothing wrong with that at all. Even if Google had to charge a tenner more than what. Oh no, actually, we'll say that a tenner more than the Fire TV stick is the Roku stick, which has a real UI, has a real remote. It's
real app.
It's dog shit slow, but like it's also got 4-year-old internals that Roku just refused to update. So like it's doable for the price. So unless Chromecast is going to be a lot cheaper, I feel like there needs to, because the Nexus player was a mistake, I believe. It shouldn't have been a set.
Is it the Nexus Q or something?
No. The Nexus player is actually called the player. It was a hockey puck. Yeah, it was running an Intel Atom processor. Again, dog shit slow. Like 1 gig of RAM, 8 gigs of storage, no micro SD, no USB, no Ethernet. Like everything
they want you to put games on it. That, it's like
that
I'll install this gig of to be honest, I think a lot of it is endemic to Google. I think a lot of Google staff live in magical Google land, and they really don't think outside of their own kind of ghetto. they live in a world where everybody has gigabit Ethernet every step they take.
I mean, that's what. Sorry, that's one of the only reasons I think I'd move back to London at this point is because gigabit. Like, there's like hyper optic do gigabit fiber for I think it's 40 or 50 quid a month. I'd fucking pay.
Very few places though you can get it, unfortunately.
The place I used to live gets it in the catchment area. Fuck yeah. I don't have the money to go live where I used to live, but like gigabit fiber is like a deal. Like, again, I pay for 80/20, and over the last couple of days, either something's been going on with my line or something's been going on my router. I'm plugged in like gigabit, and I'm getting maybe 50, 55. And again, it's not slow. It's not slow, but it's a fraction of what I'm paying for, and I can't get any closer. Like, if I walk out of my road, I can see the breakout box. I could probably like tie all the shoes I own together and like throw it from my door, and I could still probably hit that bloody breakout box. Like, there is no way I can get closer to the connection, and I'm still not getting what I pay for. Whereas I was when I first started coming to BT. Luckily.
What I would say is it could be a weather issue, because I know the other night I live in a block of 4 flats, and my internet went down. I was trying to get on, it just gave me the talk page saying disconnected. I then connected to my neighbour's opposite the way. Hers did the same, and then on the other side of because I'm on the far side of the flat, is a row of houses, and I have one of their passwords, so they'll be on a total different box to me, and theirs did the same. So you could be having a exchange issue. Okay,
well that's something I'll look into. But I also think this router is a piece of shit, but it was free. So
when I get the BT one,
yeah, the Home Hub 5, it's better than what Sky gave me, and unlike Sky, I can actually change it. Strangely enough, I can't believe like Sky locked you in. That's another story it's another story for a different time. Officially. Yeah, officially, like BT said, yeah, sure, we'll give you the stuff, and then that's it. Sky like, go sniff some fucking packets, bitch. That's their reaction. Yeah. So again, we went off on yet another tangent. Sorry about that. So one of the last topics we have is Google Play Music has announced, or they finally launched the family plans they showed off in October, September, October. No,
yeah,
it was
October. It wasn't IO.
Yeah. So it's up to six devices for $15, or I think it's actually £15 as well. While I'm not too thrilled about the one-to-one conversion, it's still less than having 2 separate accounts. You also get like YouTube Red in the US, and when it eventually spreads outside the US, you'd get YouTube Red here. Strangely, and I say strangely in that tone, because they still haven't fucking removed the deauthorization limit. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, on Google Play Music, you are allowed to authorize up to 10 devices, I think 5 or 6 of which are allowed to be phones. You are only allowed to deauthorize 4 per year. 4 devices a year. I've had more than 4 devices on my desk this last fucking month. I just can't sign into like Google Play Music, and because I pay for it, it's the streaming service I use. I've either got to carry 2 phones around with me, or actually what I end up doing, all the music I own, I also upload to OneDrive, and then I use Groove Music to listen to my current like library, and then I just stream everything else on YouTube. But it's kind of like what the fuck? Like, no other streaming service has to have a deauthorization limit. If I liked the way it looked, I'd probably end up using Spotify. Like,
Spotify doesn't. You don't even need to activate on Spotify. You just sign in, do your shit, and start out again.
Yeah, exactly.
As many accounts.
I believe Apple still have the authorization limits.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with an authorization limit. It's a deauthorization limit I find bad.
No, if I recall, Apple still have, you're only allowed to, I can't remember if it's deauthorize or whether it's you have to wipe. You can only wipe twice a year or something. But they do have some limit. I just don't use it enough to pay attention.
They also have other like limits. Like if you're using Google Play Music, you can't watch certain YouTube content on the same account. So if it's like got a certain paywall or something like that, or it might have been when they did the ad-free YouTube stuff, which I don't think is going on currently.
No, that's where YouTube.
No, because I had before it was called YouTube Red, it was YouTube Music Key.
Yeah.
And if you were using, so if I was using Google Play on my phone, and then I went to watch a video on YouTube that was part of YouTube Music Key or whatever it was called.
It was anything that was.
Let me.
Yeah, what it was.
So that makes sense again for copyright issues. You don't want two people streaming the same stuff at the same time or whatever. I get that, but just don't limit the amount of things I can deauthorize.
I think it
again,
was
10 devices. Sorry, Chris. 10 devices at a time is fine, but 4 a year is fucking asinine.
Yeah, I think the whole bit about the ad-free, which was the music key, is it would give you access to no ads on music videos. I think that was through Vivo sites, Vivo channels only, and it did let you download any YouTube videos for free as well as. But that's been adopted by Red.
Yeah. Red is just the evolution of Music Key, and actually Music Key did a lot of stuff right, but like most Google things, the nomenclature is just terrible.
It was missing that one thing.
Not that I think YouTube Red is much better name, but anyway. So yeah, the main thing is they've announced they've launched the family plan that they were saying earlier on. 6 devices, and I think that's every device on there. Every account on there gets their own 10 devices and then 4 deauths. So I think what I might end up doing is just make like another 5 dummy Google Play accounts, just so I can like throw them all onto one family plan, and then when I run out of deauthorizations, I jump to the next one. Or
you could leave Google Play Music and go to Spotify.
No, because its app's fucking horrendous.
Moving on. Bad actually. It's...
Their mobile app might have gotten better, but their desktop app's still a pile of shit. Moving on, we have a Bluetooth breathalyzer. I don't know whoever put this in the doc is if they're like trying to tell me something or.
No, I wasn't trying to tell you anything.
No, better not be.
I only recently subscribed to Fandroid in my RSS feed, and I hadn't hit my RSS feed in about a week, so I was going through this popped up, and I thought, useful? Yes. Practical? No. Who's going to be stone cold pissed and go, oh no, see how drunk I am, see if I can drive home?
I don't think that's what it's for. I think it's for if you've had like a pint or so at a pub, and it's like, and you think you're fine, but it's like, I want to be sure whether or not I'm fucked up.
I think all these breathalyzers are actually more for you were out, you had a few drinks, you have to drive somewhere the next morning.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's actually, yeah.
Because you know if you've had a drink just there, you know whether you've had, enough. Because essentially if you have more than one unit, you're basically over limit.
I don't actually, what is the current limit?
3 point something.
Is it like 4? Is it 4 units for men and 2 for women or something stupid like that?
Oh, no. That's the recommended units. You have
and you can still drive, or?
No.
That's like
recommended units.
Yeah, that's recommended. You're not supposed to drink more than that. Yes. Apparently, if you drink more than 21 units in a week, you're considered a binge drinker.
Yeah.
It's like 21 units. It's like, right, so that's basically half a night out.
Let me just see how much this has got in it.
Phoenix.
Oh no, that's fine. That's 1 unit per serving. I'm cool with that. That's fine.
Yeah, but what?
Yeah, you realise like 25 mils a serving.
Yeah, so I might have like 2 or 3 units a serving.
Yeah,
that's fine.
What it is the way your breath gets read is different to the units. Units is a way of saying it's like calories, but for alcohol. It's you should consume X amount of units of alcohol, and you'll be considered not healthy kind of. It's like calories. You should eat you should not eat more than a fixed amount of calories. You should not drink more than a bit of alcohol.
Yeah,
but
body mass becomes a factor. The breathalyzer limits are blood alcohol levels.
Yes.
So if you're
In the same way that
And
people
small
metabolize blood glucose differently, it's the same with blood alcohol. Everyone metabolizes it differently.
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
and if you're, a little 4.5 foot, pencil thin lady, what you can drink versus, 6.5 foot rugby player bloke, and then,
I'd love to
different
see.
them over the limit.
I'd love to see the 4 foot nothing lady outdrink a rugby player. That would tickle me.
It would,
So
but realistically, she'd probably pass out and die before
yeah,
that
before
actually happened.
it's even hit his liver.
Yeah.
Moving on, last news topic quickly is Pebble Classic and Pebble Steel users can opt into beta test Timeline, which is the new user interface that they debuted with the Time Steel, and Time Round, which before I got a Time Steel, I thought was so radically different and I'd hate it. It turns out, so if you've currently got a Pebble Classic or Pebble Steel original, if you're on your home screen like watch face type thing, if you hit the up or down buttons, it just cycles through your watch faces. Now on Timeline, your home screen is obviously your watch face. If you press up, you go back through the day, and if you press down, you go forward through the day. And if you want to change watch face, you just go to a new the app selector and hit watch faces. It's actually just a much nicer, cleaner UI. So I want to see how it looks on black and white, because it's kind of color heavy, despite having a pretty crappy color screen. If you wait to see it go black and white.
If you go to the link in the description, it will show you it.
I've seen the video that they posted. I mean, I want to see it like in real life.
Get your old Pebble out and have a look then.
Yeah, see, this is what me and Chris were speaking about beforehand. It's like, I don't know whether or not to opt into this beta now, because they said by the end of the month it will be available to everyone anyway. And so I don't use it every day. I use the Time Steel. So it'd literally take it out of the box, charge up for an hour, opt into this beta, upload it, play with it for 5 minutes, go, oh, it's exactly the same but in black and white, and then put it back in the box.
Yeah, why not? You can do it. Why not?
I'm lazy, Chris. I've got to go all the way upstairs. I've got to look through the amount of boxes on my desk and try not to knock it over.
Well, what you could do, for the next month is wear them both, one with the old interface and one with the new, and see how you get on.
I'm gonna go double watch because I can't wear things on my right wrist. It's just I say that wearing a band, but
that's not on your
different.
wrist though. It's halfway up your arm.
It's because it's so bloody loose. Like,
That's tiny wrists.
It's just like a Batman rubber band. So
not sponsored by Batman.
I fucking wish. So this is cool. I'm liking the fact that they're still updating the original Pebble from 2012.
God, yes.
I kind of wonder how much longer they can support it. I feel like Pebble are going to start to try to do more, and I'm not sure the internals of the original Pebble, specifically the RAM. I think it's only got like 4 kilobytes of RAM. Well, no, 4 kilobytes of ROM. Yeah, the internal storage, kilobytes.
I thought it had like 4 megabytes.
No, because the only thing it's really meant to have is like watch faces and like an app. Like I remember on the original Pebble, you could only load 4 extra things. So it's like either 4 watch faces, 3 watch faces, an app, or 4 apps, etc. Because like it was so limited, they like doubled it to 8 kilobytes for this. So I'm wondering how much more the Cortex M, I think it's the M0, and that much RAM can.
So you've got kilobytes, and I've got gigabytes.
Yeah. I also have a 10-day battery life. Suck it, bitch.
I don't know. I've just been playing around with the settings, so I think I've managed to squeeze 4 days out of it.
That's not bad from an Android watch, though.
Yeah, I have it set so the only way the screen will ever come on is if I hit the button.
Oh God! No!
I had like an itch, and the screen would come on, or I'd move my hand. Bless you, Mark. I'd move my hand slightly, and it's come on. I'm like, I don't wish to see this. Go away.
God, just go buy an Apple Watch, Chris. God.
What for like $1,000?
Yeah, go for it. No, you can buy second-hand sport watches on eBay for like dirt cheap because everyone realised they didn't want one. So
I have to say quickly as well, the original Pebble, £61 brand new on Amazon for the black.
Yeah, no, they're still ugly.
They're so I find them kind of pretty, but
The steel one looked nice. The plastic one, it did not.
I bought my plastic Pebble because I got it for like £35 or £40. If had I been able to get a steel, I would have 100% gotten a steel. The buttons on the original one are so mushy. I was never really sure when I'd hit them or not. Because of like the way it looked, you could only really use the included silicone band. Like leather bands just looked weird. So if I could have gotten a steel, I would have gotten a steel. Now I got the steel this time around.
So much more expensive. It's just.
Yeah.
It's like the Sony Smartwatch 3s. You can get a silicone strap for about 90, 95, 100 quid. Or you could get the leather band for about £150, or if you were feeling really, really like you really wanted to, you could buy the steel for 200 quid.
Mr. Splashy Pants.
And there were, the only difference between them is the band. You know, you can remove the actual watch and swap the band over. Now, Sony, because I paid attention to when I got mine some time ago, Sony basically said, "Yep, we're going to release the stainless steel band."
I was about to say that.
Never did.
I was about to say, did they do that? Because I remember at CES when it launched, I was like, "Well, that motherfucker's ugly," and they're like, "Yeah, no, don't worry, we'll have an adapter." And they're like, "Don't worry, we'll have an adapter that you can use metal bands and original watch bands." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I saw the actual adapter, and I was like, "That doesn't look any better." And I saw the metal one, I was like, "Now that's cool." Yes. And I was like, so everyone that bought an original one would just be able to buy that, and it would be cool. I was about to say, did they ever sell it? And you just
no, you can only get you can get the leather and the silicone from Sony.
Yeah,
when I last checked, the black leather was out of stock.
Yeah, but they don't look any better. To be fair, I've actually kind of grown used to the black silicone. It's not a stunning looking thing, but it's neat and plain and functional. But yeah, if they have the steel band out, I would probably want one because it looks so good.
I want the black leather, but it's 30 quid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's £30, or you can buy a £11 little holder frame that you can drop.
Oh, that's ugly.
They're not too bad looking, bud.
Yeah, they are.
They are slowly getting better, but there's still quite a way to go.
All right, so moving on, because we've got two topics, but I don't think they're going to be that much longer. The first one is that the Google Store no longer has the Nexus 6 in stock, so that's the one from Motorola. That's a big scaled up Moto X. So should it have been there this long anyway, or should it have been depreciated as soon as the 5X and 6P came out?
Should have stayed.
I presume it just stayed as long as they had stock, and stock has run out.
Yeah,
that's
true.
All I presume has happened.
I'd love a 6P. A 6, I mean. Not the P. Just a standard 6.
Really?
I like big phones.
It's a big... Yeah, it's way bigger than the 6 Edge Plus.
I mean,
God.
It's way enormous.
The 6S Plus feels like a G4. Like, it's... The 6S Plus, like... S6 Edge Plus, what the stupid fucking naming, Samsung. It's got such thin bezels and it's such a good use of the space that the screen doesn't feel as large.
It's that curve animation as you scroll off the edge.
Definitely, and they did this, but they did the same thing with the Note 5. Like the Note 5 and the S6 Edge Plus didn't feel like 5.7-inch devices. The way they utilized the rest of the body was so well done. Motorola did not do that with the Nexus 6. It just felt so unwieldy, and sadly, I mean, as much as I like the kind of like pillow design where it like bolts out in the middle and goes thinner towards the sides, that doesn't scale well. I mean, I had it with the Moto X style this year, and again, that's 5.7 inches. That's probably about as big as I'd be able to take it. Like taking it all the way up to 6 inches just doesn't work.
That's what she
so
said.
many that's what she said jokes, yeah. Like, I knew someone was going to make it, so I was like, I might as well just get it over and done with. Again, also what she said. But yeah, so I think that's what I said. That was pretty much going to be a quick topic. I kind of agree with both of you. It stayed as long as it had to. I don't think they should not be making any more of them. Like they've got the much better replacements. Simple as.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen them a bit longer, but
yeah. And this next one is actually kind of a bit more interesting. It's we've got the new Android distribution numbers. Lollipop is on 30% of Android devices, and Marshmallow is up to 0.5%.
yes.
How do we feel about this? Should it be more than this? Should it be less? Or
they should be significantly more.
What, Marshmallow or Lollipop?
Both, frankly.
Okay.
Bearing in mind, Kit Kat is at 36.6%.
The most interesting one to me is how quickly Lollipop has grown over like the last month or two. I think like beginning of September it was at like 20-ish%. So they've like kind of, I mean, it should not have taken this long for Lollipop to get to 30%, straight up. And I feel like Marshmallow should be a bit higher than 0.5%, but if we're honest, there is 2 devices brand new with it, or no, 3 devices if you include the HTC A9. So there's 3 devices brand new shipping with it over the last month.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think the A9 is bulking up those numbers.
Exactly. I feel like more 6Ps were sold than that. Huh?
That 0.5%, that's people that bought Nexuses and aren't using
or updating
some of the custom ROM. Yeah, I mean...
I don't think custom ROMs were included. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, as far as normally the numbers that they have just for whatever's access to Play Store. So custom ROM will still report which Android version it is.
Oh, fair enough.
You know, so I mean, to be honest, I suspect the fact that Cyanogen has started, dishing out Marshmallow versions, that's probably going to make more of a difference than anything else. Simply because they're available for more devices.
Which is actually quite interesting to me because we've seen more devices in this last year come out with Cyanogen OS. So we've seen both Wiley Fox phones, we've seen the ZUK Z1 or the Zook Z1 from Lenovo's sub-brand. We had the OnePlus One is still running Cyanogen mod or Cyanogen OS. There's those U phones in India. So we're seeing more and more devices come out with Cyanogen OS, and now we're seeing the nightly builds of Cyanogen Mod 13. So it won't be too long until we see Cyanogen OS 13.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I've just pulled up the article that they dished out on the 23rd of November. The initial rollout of devices for Marshmallow, they had the OnePlus One, the Nexus 7, as in the original Nexus 7.
Oh, what, like the 2012 Nexus 7?
Yeah. The G4, the Galaxy Tab Pro 8.4, bizarrely.
Oh, the Tab Pro.
The LG G-Pad 7, the LG G3 Verizon, and the Moto X 2014.
So kind of a varied, definitely varied set of devices.
Certainly a far more eclectic bunch than Google and the Nexus devices.
Yeah.
And given the only Nexus device included in there is one that Google basically said, don't care, it's too old.
Pretty much. And again, I do need to reiterate this. Apart from the fact it's just getting old, I don't even think NVIDIA supports Tegra 3 anymore, which is kind of upsetting. I think the damage was already done to original Nexus 7s.
It's a shame, really.
Yeah, and it was.
They were good tablets.
They actually really were. It was a manner of Asus being cheap, and it came round to bite. And it came round to bite them in the arse eventually.
What would be cool to see how they still hold up today. It'd be cool to grab one that's not running Lollipop.
Oh, I was tempted. I was tempted to pick up an original 32 gig with 3G and just throw a pay-as-you-go SIM in there. And
like a free unlimited SIM.
Yeah, or like the
all-in-one,
or the GIF-GAF gigabags or anything like that, because it wouldn't be used all that often. And then just like throw the new version Sandwich mod on there and see what it'd be like.
How good or bad it is. I mean,
it's the same reason
I think the fact that they've actually, released it for that, there must still be people out there using it.
Oh, there is a lot of people using them.
I'd still be using mine if I didn't put Lollipop on it.
And again, I think we all need to realize just how much of a clusterfuck Lollipop was, and Google realizes. Like, the reason it took so long the reason I think it's taking longer for everyone to get Marshmallow is because last year everyone was like, fine, you all want fast updates, we're giving you fast updates. So everyone went for fast updates on the worst version of Android to give fast updates on. The only way this could have been worse is if they all tried to upgrade to Honeycomb. Like, that's like the only way I could have seen this going worse last year. So Lollipop kind of just fucked with everyone. And I kind of think if you updated something, because a couple of people did this, or companies did this, if you updated something to 5.01, 5.02, you kind of have the responsibility to update it to 5.1, just to fix all the shit that was still broken in 5.0. I keep saying it because I keep using it. Is right here, like off screen, I have the Alcatel One Touch Idle 3. And it's still.
So you use that as like an
502.
iPod?
Essentially, because it's got really good speakers and a great screen. And
it's great screen. What's that I hear?
Yeah, and it also only costs £150 brand new. Not just saying.
Yeah, true, but better than 120 quid second hand.
I mean, like, if you can get it, you can get it. I mean, but more people are going to be able to get this for.
Oh god, yeah. This was literally. Getting it at £120 was like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it again.
I can't remember where I heard it, but it was like, how do you find a needle in a haystack? You bring a magnet.
Or you just set fire to the hay.
Yeah. Right, just burn a needle.
That's awesome. Then you go and pick up the needle and it's like, fuck, it's hot.
That's what litter pickers were invented for.
So yeah, back to what Mark was saying a minute ago, there are still a lot of Nexus 7 users. Even if they don't actively use them, they probably still own them, because it was one of the first cheap, not terrible devices. It just turned out in the long run to maybe not be as great as everyone thought. And I'm kind of upset that it went the way it did.
It went south.
And again, I don't think Lollipop helped it at all.
No. Lollipop caused it to go to shit. Someone who...
I remember people saying that when KitKat came out, it's like, what the shit is this? And then it's downgraded to 4.3 like that, because...
KitKat was smooth.
There are always people that was going to be happy with what was before.
Oh yeah, but KitKat is obviously still a large thing, but it was smooth. Mm-hmm. I never had any stutters with it. But I know the Huddle 2 have KitKat on.
Yeah, only recently got Lollipop.
They only recently got Lollipop. So it's smooth, yes. Lollipop just causes it to stutter so much on the Nexus.
Possibly that it's smooth on the devices that you've used.
Yeah.
But as has been displayed with the raft of Snapdragon 615 phones, some software optimized better than others.
Yeah.
So
I would like to say that I will say for most things, KitKat was better than Lollipop. I wouldn't personally choose to go back because I like. Personally, I wouldn't, but I like the aesthetic improvements. But I think this just goes to show the amount of challenges that happened, even if you're a company the size of Google, that happened when you essentially tried to rewrite the rulebook. They pretty much rewrote Android, or the important parts of Android, with Lollipop, and it blew up in their faces. They needed longer than they thought, and this just shows the
problems,
the risks. Yeah. So, if you two are okay with it, I think I'd like to end there.
One thing I will say, I don't know if you read it from Craig in Slack, but we are currently hosting another giveaway of some Tilt products. We recently
but do you want to speak about it quick?
Yes, we could. Well, we previously had a giveaway for some EC Technology products, and which they kindly sent over to us for a giveaway. but we now have a tilt competition. Now let me just pull it up because I can't remember what it is. It's some nice goodies. Let's say if I wasn't a writer, I would definitely be entering myself. But then again, I enter over every competition I see. So I believe it is a power case for the S6 and S6 Edge. Why is my internet being retarded?
Pretty much, it's just a load of good stuff.
Oh, it's a load of good goodies. Here we go.
Oh, here he goes. Got it.
Here we go. So it is the energy sliding power case for the iPhone 6. Bit ironic. Energy sliding power case for the 6 Plus. So this will work with the S series as well. And the sliding case for the S6 and S6 Edge, standard S6 Edge. It's currently sat with 5 days remaining, and if I was you, I would definitely enter.
Yep, I agree 100%. We finished doing the giveaway with EC Technology stuff. I believe we've got another one coming after the Tilt stuff, which is actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Like Chris, I'd enter if I could, but sadly none of us can.
We could, but we could just get someone else to do it for us.
Now Craig's going to listen to this and he's going to realise where all these strange entries came from. Thanks, Chris. This is what private messaging in Slack is for.
No, I can honestly say I've not entered. I wouldn't.
Anyway, thank you, Chris and Mark, for joining. Thank you, Chris and Mark, for joining me this evening. It's actually been really fun. Where can the people get you to on Twitter?
Go on, Mark.
Yeah, Twitter at Mark2410. Although most of my posting seems to be retweeting random political shite. Although I keep trying
stuff as well.
Keep meaning to try and cut that down, but yeah.
As always, we should probably preface this with these are our personal accounts.
Yes.
If you follow Mark, you'll get a lot of tweets about Scottish politics. If you follow me, you'll probably see a lot of GIFs. If you follow Chris,
I don't know.
A lot of stuff about stuff he's written on the site.
Yeah, it's primarily stuff I've written or the giveaways, or I mainly retweet anything about the site. And you will find my Instagram post on there, Slider, which is also Chris Wallace 959 on everywhere you want me. But no, I'm not the most interesting person in the world.
I wouldn't say any of us are. We're just three.
I do have Siri following me. I have the voice of Siri following me.
I have Jason Bradbury following me, like from the Gadget Show. So
I did at some point.
I'm kind of happy with that. Yeah. Anyway, so you can catch us at Twitter. So I am at mobile_dom. Mark is at Mark2410. Chris is at ChrisWallace595. Is that
959.
959. The site is at MTT Feed. You can go to Instagram, which is MobileTechTalk. We're at MobileTechTalk UK on Facebook. The website is www.mobiletechtalk.co.uk, and YouTube and Google+. Just search us. MobileTechTalk.
Yeah, use Google.
Yeah, they won't give us fancy URLs.
Because we don't have enough subs and activity and stuff like that.
And
so sub to our YouTube channel, so we get enough subs to then change our name to something more official rather than youtube.com/user/gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook.
Yeah, definitely. So until next week. Whatever time we are podcasting next week, because I think yeah, exactly, because I think 3 of us are going to see Star Wars next week.
I'm not going to see Star Wars.
I am in IMAX.
I'm going to admit something. I'm not a Star Wars fan. Never got into it.
Yeah,
that's Chris not coming back on the podcast.
Yeah, no, ditto. It's not that I hate it, but I
couldn't get into it. It's cool on the graphics, unlike the way it's presented and the looks, cool. Storyline, sorry, no, not for me.
I think it's very much a personal thing. I quite like it because I find real life quite boring, and stuff that's just slightly out of the reach of what's currently possible is more interesting than other things. Strangely, I can't get into Star Trek though, but whatever. So anyway, that has been Talking Tech episode 7. We will be back at some point next week with episode 8. Until then, I am Dom, that's Chris and Mark, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.